Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 times British celebs made an arse of themselves.
Good to see. Oh, you've been joined by a beautiful lady.
No, it's a man actually, Derek.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20, Marco Pierre White goes shopping. There's Out of Touch, and then there's this.
Sorry, madam. I very rarely step out of my own environment.
In this old segment from one of his shows, we see celebrity chef Marco Pierre White brave the unpredictable wilds of the common British supermarket. It's like watching an alien skinwalker trying to convince you it's been to one before. Highlights include telling people that if you can't smell an orange, then it won't taste like orange.
If it doesn't smell of pineapple, it doesn't taste of pineapple. If it doesn't taste of oranges, it doesn't smell of orange, it doesn't taste of orange.
For me oranges then.
So you have a quick smell. Can you smell orange?
No.
There you are.
Shaking a man's hand after he touched raw meats.
So it's £2 a portion. It's great value. And what's your name?
Roy.
Roy.
Graham.
My uncle
Nice
was
to
called
meet you.
Roy. He was a butcher as well.
And of course, picking up a tibbet from the fish counter and struggling to put it back again.
It's affordable, isn't it? So when you think for £4.54 from turbot.
Has this man ever shopped for his own ingredients? Number 19, Jeremy Vine reads comments. Jeremy Vine has gotten himself a few enemies over the years. No, not for anything he said on the show, but rather for what he does in his spare time.
What sort of made me do it, stop the videos, was the amount of trolling.
Indeed, it's Jeremy's many cycling videos that have ticked people off, be it from his entitled behaviour or complete disregard for the highway code.
Surely this man, that's me, has to be England's biggest A blank, AR blank. It may be terrible, but I hope he falls under the wheels of 5 cars that reverse and make sure the job's done.
As such, he's received a multitude of mean comments on Twitter, and he thought the best way to air out his grievances was to read them out on his show.
We are all God's children apart from the devil's offspring, who are bicycle fetishists in the main. A perfect example would be Satan's high priest, an all-round bike fetishist Jeremy Vine.
Yes, some of these comments go way too far, but Jeremy's pill-clutching and head teacher at a school assembly sternness made this feel more like a masterclass in how not to handle internet trolls.
You really are the lowest form of scum on this planet. I mean, and that's just there's thousands where they came.
Number 18, Paul Burrell in danger. Known for his composed demeanour as Princess Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell showed a surprisingly different side on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. His screams and panic during the infamous trial made viewers question who the poised royal aide had now turned into. Rather than the suave and flappable figure we remembered, Burrell came off as terrified and downright ridiculous.
Whatever you are, don't bite me.
It's a reminder that even dignified celebrities aren't immune to losing their cool in the jungle.
My God, it's rat!
Number 17, Noel Edmonds slips up.
Well, we're not going to forget this one, are we?
Think before you speak is a lesson Noel may have learned the hard way here. During an episode of Deal or No Deal, one contestant brought along with them a picture of themselves in their youth. That's when something about the picture caught Noel's eye, and disaster struck.
What are you laughing at?
No, I'm not laughing at the picture of you. It's the little one in the middle.
That's Christopher, that's my little brother. He's actually handicapped.
Gorgeous face.
Though he tried to make a recovery with his response, there was simply no way to make it right.
What a
absolutely
wonderful
gorgeous.
expression.
Number 16, Gemma Collins' Tumble. Gemma Collins has had her fair share of reality TV highs and lows, but her spectacular fall on Dancing on Ice was one for the history books. Known for her larger-than-life personality, this tumble understandably made her the biggest conversation piece of the week. It quickly went viral, but it was the fact that just a week prior she had a row with Judge Jason Gardner that made this so humiliating.
Say one thing, maybe if you didn't sell stories on me, I wouldn't have been so upset this week.
She may have been right to call out his alleged selling of stories, but she managed to prove his critiques about her dancing abilities to be correct.
Sell stories on me. Do not sell stories on me.
All right.
Number 15, Derek Acorah meets Creed Kafer. You could make the argument that the late great Derek Acorah made an arse of himself every time he channeled spirits on Most Haunted back in the day.
What's happened is that Derek sometimes gets possessed. This can happen quite a lot. This has been happening quite frequently.
However, at least there was the conceit that he was actually being taken over by these wicked ghosts in those instances. Well, that is until any reasonable doubt was erased following this little trap played by his co-workers.
Creed! Creed!
In order to prove he had been faking it the whole time, they made up the characters Creed Kafer and Rick Edels, which were Derek Faker and Derek Lies anagrams.
And so arranged for a particular name to be fed to them, either in passing but also written on a piece of paper.
Unsurprisingly, he took the bait and started pretending to channel these phony phantoms. Number 14, Donnie Tourette acts hard.
I should explain. Donnie is a punk.
Never mind the Buzzcock seems to be the perfect place for a musician to ruin their image, as is evidenced by the infamous Preston walkout. While that was definitely an arse-making moment, Donnie Tourette of Towers of London fame made an even worse impression on the audience at home.
You know, you'd be quite happy at home on the streets. Yeah. But then again, not many people would take that pee on you, because you're pretty ugly.
While he tried to keep up his punk rock persona, Simon Amstel was having none of it and ruthlessly shattered Tourette's ego.
Donnie's put sunglasses on. That'll tell Thatcher.
He never once attempted to drop the act and be himself, instead looking worse and worse as the episode went on.
That's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Number 13, Gary Neville gets caught out.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm Gary Neville.
It seems like no matter how much money celebrities have, they'll stop at nothing to get just a little bit more. Take for example participating in the Qatar-hosted World Cup back in 2022. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this event, especially because of the country's history with human rights issues. These concerns were highlighted on this episode of Have I Got News For You, which was hosted by Gary Neville.
Ian, is it coming home?
What, your reputation?
There's a lot of beating around the bush, but of course Ian Hislop is not one to do that. He called out his participation directly. Neville tries to come up with a phony excuse, but Hislop is having none of it.
And what's the defence? Football term.
For commentating there? Well, you've got a choice, I think, haven't you?
What, going or not going?
Well, my view always has been that you either highlight the issues and challenges in these countries and speak about them, or you basically don't say anything, you stay back home and don't go. And I've always said we should challenge them.
There's another option. You stay at home and highlight the abuses. You don't have to go and take the Qataris' money.
Number 12, Harry Styles tries to use words. Harry Styles is undoubtedly a pop icon, but his interview about his movie Don't Worry Darling left audiences scratching their heads.
I mean, I think it's I think in the story, it's hard to look at these men who've, you know, behaved in a certain way and say, you know, we should all feel really bad for them.
When asked why the film was good, Styles struggled to articulate compelling reasons, fumbling through vague and awkward answers. Chris Pine, who's accustomed to these sorts of interviews, looks almost crestfallen when Harry says his favorite thing about the movie is that it feels like a movie.
You know, my favorite thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie. It feels like a real, like, you know, go to the theater film movie that you know, you kind of, the reason why you go.
Could his PR managers really not feed him better lines than this?
Don't worry, darling.
Thank you.
Chris Pine, Harry Styles.
Thank you.
Dennis 79,
Ciao.
Chiara Nicoletti for Fred, the Festival Insider.
Number 11, Michael Barrymore does a cover. Michael Barrymore, once Britain's most beloved TV host, gifted us with perhaps one of his most mortifying moments by singing a cover of Coolio's See You When You Get There.
We've been around to places, found interesting faces, whether young or old, no one left out in the cold. Take a long look around in places of renown, no one would wear a frown.
Rather than showcasing hidden vocal talents, Barrymore's rendition came off as painfully unconvincing and out of touch with the song's tone.
If you ever get there, see you when you get there.
Watching a sanitary TV personality try to cross into rap territory and spectacularly blow it was both awkward and memorable.
If you ever get there.
It's the type of performance that slips quickly into the realm of cringe.
We'll see you when you get there.
Number 10, James Corden disrupts traffic. While we often see James Corden's upbeat carpool karaoke, there was a less charming side when he disrupted traffic in LA for a segment on his show. Rather than quietly running his skits, he and his crew blocked lanes and caused chaos for commuters, drawing public ire.
Quickly, stay there! Stay there!
The result was plenty of frustrated motorists and some lost goodwill for the late-night host. Worst of all, the image of him thrusting his hips in that costume will haunt our dreams forever.
Let's get
Number 9, Glenn Hoddle's implication.
They are stating that I've come out and said that people disabled and handicapped are being punished for their sins.
Being a football manager is obviously a huge opportunity. In 1996, former midfielder Glenn Hoddle was given this prestigious role. Yet, in 1999, he destroyed everything during an interview with The Times when he defended his relationship with faith healer Eileen Drury and his beliefs. Hoddle implied that disabled people are, quote, being punished for sins in a former life. He was widely condemned, with the public overwhelmingly calling for his firing, and a few days later, Hoddle was sacked as England manager.
I've never said that.
Or that their disability might have something to do with something they did in their previous lives.
Well, I don't know about that.
Number 8, Eamon Holmes gets weird.
Me eyes feel a bit heavy, so I had an uplift. But what I don't like is when children...
You don't look Oriental or anything, do you?
Well, I don't.
A live TV slip-up from veteran presenter Eamon Holmes saw him calling Kerry Katona a highly inappropriate and outdated term. The awkwardness of the moment was palpable, as both Holmes and Katona struggled to recover from the gaffe.
Apparently, you're not allowed to describe someone as looking Oriental, or I don't know how I would then describe Kerry Katona.
Holmes was understandably told to say sorry for his strange remark. However, like with the instance where he said the Arse slur on live telly, he simply cannot bring himself to apologise sincerely.
Kerry looks beautiful.
Kerry looks well, and I'm sorry if you don't look well and we've offended you in any way, or, well, I don't know.
In Eamon's own eyes, he can do no wrong.
Where nationalisation needs to come in.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, forget it. Fine. Just carry on.
Number 7, Philip Schofield plays the victim.
I know what I did was unwise, but is it enough to absolutely destroy someone?
Philip Schofield, once beloved by the nation, found himself on its proverbial most hated celebs list following a number of scandals. After a brief disappearance, he popped up again and ventured into reality TV territory where he faced an island survival show.
At the moment, it's just given me more anguish.
His exaggerated complaints about the conditions, paired with a dramatic flair, came off as quite embarrassing. But worst of all was how he seemingly tried to play the victim over his self-imposed controversies. It just wasn't a good look.
I've got a bit of a shock, right? I'm afraid you've been let go from this morning.
Number 6, Piers Morgan storms off.
And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme.
The name Piers Morgan is practically synonymous with controversy, but one particularly memorable moment was when he stormed off a set of Good Morning Britain mid-discussion. Rather than debating or addressing issues calmly, he slammed the door figuratively and literally.
Yet you continue to trash her.
Okay. I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
this.
this.
Is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
His dramatic exit may have thrilled his detractors and supporters alike, but it certainly wasn't a classy way to handle disagreements. It reinforced the image of Morgan as a divisive figure willing to make a scene rather than resolve matters amicably.
Following discussions with ITV, Piers Morgan has decided now is the time to leave Good Morning Britain.
Number 5, Richard Madeley's doc.
I like to sort of think of us as like urban wombles. We roam the street.
When it comes to real-life Alan Partridge, Richard Madeley, there's a wealth of cringy moments you can choose from. One that always comes to mind is his hilariously awkward documentary on squatters.
You can't film me pissing. What are you talking about?
Why not?
I'm not. No, you're not filming me urinating. You can listen. I can think of better uses of television time.
What was meant to be a bold plunge into gritty documentary filmmaking with his exploration of the squatter scene unfortunately ended up as far less insightful and far more toe-curling than anyone expected.
What's your supermarket skip of choice then? I mean, I personally quite like shopping at Waitrose. Waitrose, okay. So we have something absolutely in common. I shop at Waitrose, you skip from the back.
Madeley's attempts to connect with the squatters felt painfully forced, as if he were a baffled tourist trying desperately to understand a foreign culture. His frequent over-explanations and clumsy asides made it clear he was out of his depth, and not in a charming way.
Are we roughly of an age, you and I? I'm 56.
You're a bit rude.
Number 4, Kelly Osbourne ruins her image. Back in August of 2015, TV personality Kelly Osbourne was guest starring on The View, with the topic of the day being US immigration policies. It was then that Osbourne made one of the most openly racist remarks ever heard on live TV.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
The comment was immediately met with backlash, with Osbourne's co-hosts reacting in shock and disbelief. Osbourne thought she cooked with this one, but she immediately started backpedaling after witnessing the horrified reactions, which only added to the unbearable embarrassment. She later told Rolling Stone that this was the most cringe moment of her entire life. Fair enough.
I'm not okay that I hurt people's feelings. And it was my poor choice of words, and it doesn't reflect my opinion at all.
Number 3, Alex Turner's award acceptance.
The MasterCard Album of the Year is the Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic Monkeys have definitely earned their position in the music industry over the years, but no one should really have the ego to attempt a speech like this.
That rock and roll, it just won't go away. It'll, might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp.
In one of the hardest to sit through award acceptance speeches of all time, Alex Turner goes on about how rock and roll isn't dead.
I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands it adheres to some of its rules.
Is he saying it off the top of his head? We certainly wouldn't be surprised if that were the case, because this straight up sucked. 0% cool, 100% cringe.
Invoice me for the microphone if you need to.
Number 2, George Galloway, The Cat. How to destroy your credibility 101. Let's face it, barely anyone walks out of Celebrity Big Brother looking better than they did before. But near the bottom has to be this politician's image-tarnishing performance. One challenge given by the producers saw Rula Lenska and George Galloway play the roles of pet owner and pet cat. Yes, that means we saw him purr like a kitty on national television. The whole time it was clear that he was making an arse of himself more than winning hearts. Number 1. Katie Hopkins on children's names.
A name for me is a shortcut. It's
And
a really
what does-
efficient way of working out what class that child comes from. Do I want my children to play with them?
Yes, we've seen this clip a trillion times already, but let's be honest, it doesn't get old. In what has to be one of the greatest moments of televised hypocrisy, Katie Hopkins came onto This Morning to discuss how she wouldn't let her children play with ones who have certain names,
You judge children
Yes.
on their names.
Yes, Holly.
including geographical locations, as she deems them to be lower class. Somehow, someway, she forgot the fact that her own daughter is named India.
Oh, so Brooklyn or London.
Your
or...
child's called India.
Yes, but you know, that's because it's not related to a location. That's because it's
India
related
isn't
to
a
a
location?
family.
Which cringy celeb moments did we miss? Let us know in those comments below.